Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, folks. Welcome back to another 2 p.m. PST YouTube stream. I'm your host, Strange Road Jim, and as you can see, we are going to be getting back into some Pega development. Now, later on today, well, in just an hour, we're going to be switching over to studying the Unreal Engine. So, if you're watching this later on YouTube, look forward to that coming up on my YouTube channel. I'll be posting those videos in their respective uh, playlist. We'll be joined by Blackheart for that, so look forward to that. Um, then we have video uploads after that, and then of course we got Goat Simulator 3 later on tonight. So that's what's going on right now for our streaming. So hopefully you'll stick with me as we continue to go through that. If you're just here for the Pega certification, that's perfectly fine. If you're right now watching me in my stream, in my chat, lurking in the background, that's perfectly fine. You're welcome to chat with me as well if you want. I I'm okay with that. I want I'm okay with having more people there in my chat to chat with me. Um, but it's okay if you're not comfortable with that as well. So no worries there. So let's get into what uh, these videos are all about. Who am I and what you should be expecting on it. Um, so I am currently a unemployed software developer, just trying to find work out there. Uh, just trying to find any kind of work out there, to be honest. Um, my last job was covering the Pega environment, um, but I was never able to get my certification. First part of the certification process was with a authorized training partner that, well, pretty much pissed everybody in our group off. We were not happy with how he was going about teaching, and a good majority of us, if not all of us, had switched over to self study because we just did not appreciate what he was doing. So, um, to the point where even his coworkers knew that he was messing up. So, I'm still blown away by the fact that, we asked to be put back into the training again to learn Pega with another trainer and was denied. So that blows my mind. But they did what they wanted to do. So now the fault for not getting the certification afterwards does fall on my shoulders. Would have been nice to actually have had a proper mentor to help me out with that, but that didn't really um, work out the way I wanted it to. So, I asked, but all I pretty much got was, "Hey, if you have questions, feel free to ask them." That was about it. Not exactly fantastic mentorship there, but it is what it is. Um, Now, one thing is that, and so for these videos, I'm doing that because I'm gonna have some questions. There are parts of Pega that I'm not going to be fully understanding. Um, there's going to be parts where I'm like going, wait, do you mean this or do you mean that? I'm not understanding what you're trying to get to, Pega. Um, to the point where even they agree that, they need to change up their language a little bit. Um, so, which, they said that they are addressing in later versions. Now, uh, obviously, the questions that I ask, you know, if you're a new person trying to learn Pega themselves and you're not quite sure as well, then don't worry about it. Don't stress. I'm kind of hoping that there would be a person from the Pega Academy or that has had years of Pega training and experience and the like that can look at my question and go, oh, okay, well, you're going to need to look at it this way to get the answer that you're looking for. That's what I'm kind of expecting out of these videos. Okay, I'm putting them up on the internet so that the Pega community itself can help me out. Okay. Um, but I mean, it hasn't really panned out all that much, but I'm a patient man, so I just gotta keep on doing these videos until I get some kind of responses. Um, so, but I'm still learning to get to the system architect certification. Now, there is the business architect certification, but I have no interest in that. You know, I want to actually be doing code, programming, so on and so forth. That's where my interest lies. Am I good at it? Well, some people say yes. Some people probably would say no. But doesn't mean that I can't, that I have to stop. If my interest is getting towards that, to that level, to where I can actually code, then I don't want to stop. So, and hopefully nothing will come along that will stop me from that. Um, so I look forward to your support on that. Okay. But just know that I am not an authorized training partner, and this is not meant for an instructor-led training. Okay. Both of these should be given by people that are very much familiar with Pega. They know it backwards and forwards. They can teach you everything that they know about Pega so that you learn everything that they know and you will pass their certifications with flying colors. That didn't necessarily happen with our authorized training partner, but whatever. The point is that that is not me. Okay. Now, um, if you want to take the instructor-led train, then go ahead and do so. You know, from what I understand, it's like a 2-week course for $5,000. Um, $5,000 is a lot of money in my particular opinion. But I mean, for a 2-week course, I mean it kind of makes sense a little bit. Um, just the fact that it's gonna be jam packed. Okay. Um, like I'm on already like 100 videos on this, and that's already I'm doing like 1 hour per video about these topics. Discussing them, talking more about them, giving examples of them, and um, to try to squeeze that down into 14 days. Well, I mean, good luck. It's going to be a very condensed training session. Okay, so make sure that you know you take notes. You do video recordings, what have you, and ask a lot of questions in order to get that certification. Okay, don't slack off. If you're paying that amount of money for that instructor-led training, make sure that you get your money's worth out of it. Okay. Um, Try to learn everything that you can. I would be doing the 2-week course and then afterwards restudying it or looking at the other and additional information afterward. If I'm paying $5,000 for training, I better I better get to know everything that there is to know about it. Okay. Redo the challenges, mess around with the challenges, so on and so forth. Okay. Um, Most likely they're not going to go through that order of the mission in the order that we're going through right at this moment in time. So, um, you're at the whim of the instructor. So hopefully they will give you everything that you need to know. Plus, I would also recommend that you ask them for past keywords, you know, because Pega has changed their keywords over the years. Okay, um, so you might be taking the 8.8 certification or the 23 version or whatever, whatever version you're on right at this moment in time. Okay, um, but let's not forget that um, previous versions might have had different keywords. Okay, so you're gonna want to know what those keywords are because you're gonna be talking with people that have that experience. Okay, that know, one keyword is this, whereas another is that. Okay, like just the other day I was seeing them using unit when it probably could have been team. That could be two different keywords being used there. Okay, I'm just saying it could be. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Okay. Um, so ask those questions. Make sure that you know. Okay. Now, concerning business architect, it is done. We covered the entire mission here. Okay. So if you're watching this right now, these videos, this current video right now, and you're trying to go for the business architect certification, we're already done with all that. Okay. The two missions, the two modules, they're done. We've already completed it. Those are on the playlist already, ready for you to consume. Okay, so go ahead and go through all those topics, all those challenges, all those modules. Um, they are complete. But I will say, these last two modules there, they cover the Pega Express delivery in a very minimal fashion, in my particular opinion. I would recommend that you go through the Pega Express delivery in its entirety, or thoroughly, because you're probably not going to be seeing, this is 12% of the certification there, folks. Okay, so you're going to want to know everything that there is to know about the Pega Express delivery so that you can 100% at 12%. Okay, so do yourself a favor, cover the Pega Express delivery mission. Am I going to? Mm, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm still debating whether or not I want to try for the business architect certification anyway. Um, so, um, so just know that the um, you know, my main goal is to try to get the system architect certification. Okay, not the business architect. I may take the business architect certification just to try to learn the business architect certification, but I'm not going to be really stressing it. Okay, so let's get into the system architect. We covered a challenge yesterday, so we'll most likely be on a topic today. Yeah, we covered the creating and managing teams of users yesterday. That one took a while because there was a lot of mistakes that we were seeing on the challenge. I had to make a lot of suggestions on there, so that took a little bit longer than normal. But let's move on to viewing data in memory module. Okay, so they say that they're all 5 minutes long, but it's probably longer than that. Um, so let's get into the data storage and memory. 5 minutes long. Um, oh yeah, it's pretty short. So, okay, data storage and memory. Reviewing application data. Cases are collections of data. Sources of case data include user input, calculations, system actions, and integrations to external systems such as database of registered motor vehicles. Pega platform applications capture, manipulate, and present data through a business process to process and resolve a case. As a result, applications generate large amounts of data. While developing applications, you may need to review the application data to check for correctness. Incorrect information can cause errors that lead to undesired results for cases. Each data element in the Pega platform application is a pairing of two pieces of information. The name of the data element, determined by the property rule, and the value assigned to the data element or property. For example, when you use a data element to capture the date of birth of a person, the data element name is date of birth, and the corresponding value is the date, such as July 20th, 1969. Um, so name of the data element, first name, date of birth, occupation, value assigned to the data element would be Neil, July 20th, 1969, an astronaut. So, um, so yeah. Or you could say these are variable names and these are the contents contained within it. That kind of thing. If you wanna look at it that way. While processing the case, these data elements remain in memory for use by one or more users. Each data element is stored in memory on a page. A page is a structure for organizing data elements in an application. Some pages are created by the system to track user or session data. Other pages are created by developers to describe a data type, such as a hotel reservation or a customer. Um, this tends to be a little um, uh, I think I had quite a bit of confusion when it came to pages. Um, but um, from this right here, okay, they're showing that you have a customer page with basically three different elements or three different data elements, with the data element's name and the data element's value contained within the entire page. Um, now, um, how would I describe that in like say Java? Um, hmm. It's not a variable and variable name because a variable doesn't have um, you can't necessarily assign multiple different data elements into a variable. You know, like you can't go, hey, uh, you know, string variable. I need you to hold this int double and um, list contained within your string. I mean, you could try to do that in a really weird way. I mean, you can like separate them out into a string if you really wanted to. It wouldn't necessarily be the most efficient way of going about doing it, but you could technically do something like that. You just have to parse it out afterwards. But again, not exactly the best way of handling, um, might not necessarily be the best efficient way of handling data structures like that, right? Um, even something as simple as a list wouldn't necessarily work very well because with you know a list you would typically need to put down um, the data type at the very beginning, and if you have something that has different information contained within that, like an int, a double, and so on and so forth, then a list doesn't necessarily work per se. Um, so, um, but yeah, I mean, you could still try to, you know, that's one of the nice things about coding. Um, you can always find ways to work with what you got. Okay, like you can have something that basically has like a default data, and you can say like, hey, um, you can convert the int into a string and put that into the list. You could do that if you wanted to, you know, or you can try to create the list in such a way where you have like a default object, and that object would have to look at the data itself and try to assign it to a specific type depending on what it sees. But that might be a little difficult to figure out, right? Um, you know, you have to either have the right kind of information being passed in, or something. Uh, there are ways to get around it. Let me just put it that way. But so that's a page. So during case processing, each page remains in memory in a structure known as the clipboard. So you have data elements, that are, with the name um, and the value of the data element. You have a page that holds multiple data elements, their name and their value. And then you have the clipboard that holds multiple pages. Okay, so um, the clipboard consists of all the pages used to track the property value pairs that represent case and, or actually, hold on, let me go back to this. The clipboard is the portion of memory on the server reserved by Pega platform for the data generated by applications. The clipboard consists of all the pages used to track the property value pairs that represent case and session data. The clipboard receives its name because pages can be added to or removed from memory as needed to track case or session data. When a value is assigned to a data element, the data element and its value are on the clipboard. As you run a process, Pega platform updates the clipboard, adding or removing pages and properties from memory. Your application uses the clipboard to populate fields on UI forms, perform calculations, and evaluate decisions. So, there we go. We move on. So, how is this information, such as customers' date of birth, stored in memory for use in a Pega platform application? So, you'd want to use the data element. That's not a folder, it's not a data source, and while you can use a page, in a clipboard, you know, to still hold the information, you don't want to put, just the single customer's date of birth into a page. That's a misuse of resources there. So A data value such as date of birth is associated with the data value and data item and stored in the clipboard in the structure called a page. So there we go. Next topic. Let's move on. Clipboard data. We got a little bit more information here, plus the extra information's on here. So this will probably take us to the end of the hour, I would imagine. So clipboard data. The clipboard tool. Pega platform provides the clipboard tool to display data in memory. The clipboard tool organizes and presents all the pages in memory, listing all the properties on each page and the value of each property. You can also use the clipboard tool to update and add properties to test features that rely on data not yet added to a case, such as decisions and UI forms. For example, in an expense report case, you want to branch a flow based on the project type. The application currently lacks a field in the user interface, UI, to allow the user to select the project type. In this situation, you can use the clipboard tool to set a value for the property and verify that the flow branches properly. Um, okay. So in this particular case, they're talking about um, you can use the clipboard tool to update and add properties to test features. Okay. Not as a mainstay process there, folks. Okay. It is just to test features. Okay. Don't try to be like, hey, I'm going to use the clipboard tool as a standard process of handling getting data in and sending it right back out again. Don't do that. Okay. Because you're trying to get the um, your case lifecycle to pretty much do everything that you need to do. Okay. So, of taking in information, calculating the information, and spitting out the results. Okay, you don't want to be using the clipboard tool to try to do all of that or anything along those lines. Okay, so don't, you know, make sure not to get into that kind of mindset. Okay, um, it'd be like, hey, I'm going to use while I'm building this Java application, I'm going to use the information that I'm going to generate in JUnit just for because I want to modify the results and spit out the results to the user in my application. Yeah, no, don't do that. you know, JUnit is a testing application if anybody's curious. Okay. It's not meant to be part of the normal application usage. I'm gonna drink. Alright. So, the Clipboard tool is accessible from the developer toolbar and contains three areas: the header, the left pane, and the right pane. Wow, how descriptive. Um, in the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about the parts of the Clipboard tool. Header. You can use the header to select the thread to display. Each thread corresponds to a single action currently managed by a Pega platform. The clipboard contains threads dedicated to the studio in use. In App Studio, the clipboard contains a thread dedicated to App Studio. In Dev Studio, the clipboard contains threads for App Studio and Dev Studio. The other threads are dedicated to open rule forms and open folders. Pega platform ensures that data about one folder or action does not affect data about another folder or action by assigning each folder or action its own thread. Hmm. That would be a lot of threads. Normally, when you know, I'm not quite sure, um, like um, what the threads are kind of, um, like all the threads contained in Pega platform, but um, um, okay, getting some feedback from Pega right now. Um, like I don't know how many threads are contained within Pega platform, but normally when you're dealing with multi-threaded applications, you you're only using a thread, to handle calculations at the same time if you need it to happen, you know. Um, when you want to speed up a process and you're having like multiple calculations happening at the same time, then you use the threads to, you know, um, handle certain actions at the same time, um, or if you need to handle like one set of calculations and for one particular part of um, the project, whereas another thread handles a different set of calculations. Um, uh, like on one thread, you're handling like calculating out taxes, while the other one is calculating out um, the overall um, subtotal of everything, right? Um, you could you can maybe think of it that way. Um, but some could be in parallel, some could be, in a series of threads. Um, but I mean, you don't necessarily want to be um, um, having like 100. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure like what they're kind of talking about per se, but I mean, I'm just looking at their list here, and if each one of these has its own thread, that is a lot of threads happening all at the same time. Um, and some of this probably isn't even relevant for for the current case. At least, maybe, I don't know. Um, just seems like a lot of different threads, but I don't know. You know, it just maybe it's just me. I don't really know. I haven't seen too much in terms of like, you know, uh, large projects. I don't have that kind of like major experience, but um, you know, uh, it was often stressed to us that, hey, make sure that you are very careful when it comes to threading because, you could have yourself a lot of, you could potentially create a lot of problems for yourself as well if you're not careful with the threads that you create and threads that are being used at the same time. So um, to say that, you know, um, another folder action by assigning each folder action its own thread, um, that seems like quite a lot, especially if, each one of these is an action or folder. Uh, the left pane. How descriptive. The left pane lists each page defined in the clipboard for the selected thread. For each page, the clipboard tool identifies the name and class of the page. If a page contains embedded pages, an expand arrow is displayed to the left of the page name. Expand arrow? Okay. Didn't know that these particular symbols were called expand arrows. Mm. Um, but yet again, you know, these are their own threads there. So, okay, the right pane. Again, another very descriptive name. The right pane lists all the properties set on the selected page and their values. Users can view the data and use the Edit, Refresh, and Actions buttons to update values, refresh the clipboard page, and perform other actions. So, so there we go. That's what you're seeing there. So all of you have all these different topics and like. So there we go. Mm, saw a message there for a second on the chat, but okay. Well, if hello, if you're there, how you doing? All right. So yeah, this is you got some for the PY work page in this particular case, what they're showing is all the contents contained within the PY work page. So, all the properties, all the values associated with said properties, and all of that is contained within a single work page. So, okay, clipboard page organization. Pega platform organizes pages on the clipboard into 4 categories. The clipboard tool displays those categories as shown on the following image. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about the page categories. So, um, so you have user pages, data pages, linked property pages, and system pages. So you're probably going to be wanting to learn each one of those as you um, or make sure that you are aware of what they're all about, and um, because the uh, certification test might come up to you and say, okay, under the linked property pages, what does it contain, or that kind of thing. So, so user pages. User pages category contains pages created directly or indirectly as a result of user action. User pages contain data about the work done in the selected thread. When a user processes a folder, all pages used to store data about the folder are listed in the user pages category. For example, the data that you enter in a form is stored on the PY work page user page. Similarly, when a developer configures or tests a rule, all pages that store the data used by that rule are listed in that category. So, hopefully that's um, descriptive enough about what you are going to be seeing in the user pages category. So um, notice that each one of these here is under the user pages. Okay. Notice how there's data pages, linked property pages, and system pages, but those are all not expanded here. So every single last little page and that you see here is under user. So all that is, directly or indirectly created by user action. So, you know, all that by user, all this by user action? Really? I mean, they do say indirectly, so, um, you know, who's to say, what's going on here to really, you know, determine. So, all right, data pages. Um, so for data pages, the data pages category contains read-only data pages defined by data page rules. Data pages are used to cache data from another source, such as a third-party service or system of record. Um, Third-party service or system of record. So basically, a database coming in with, um, information for you. For example, your app converts US dollars to euros. Exchange rates determined by currency markets are cached in a data page for use by one or more users of the application. Now, bear in mind, exchange rates can fluctuate, you know, pretty quickly in some cases. Okay. So, so while you might say, yeah, they might be cached, um, make sure that you are getting the information. Um, if the markets are open, then you're gonna want to make sure that that is very live information. You know, you don't want to be, off by a millisecond in some cases for that, because you know your job might depend on it. Your job might be that you are looking at the stock market right at that particular moment in time. And if you're off and someone tries to buy at a certain point, but the stocks had already skyrocketed, then you're making the company lose, hundreds, if not millions of dollars. So you got to be careful with that. Linked property pages. Linked property pages list read-only pages created by related properties, which contain information about the data types referenced by an associated property. Related properties are advanced data structures, typically created or configured by more experienced developers. That doesn't necessarily help, because it's like, well, what if you want to become a more experienced developer? Let's maybe talk about that a little bit more. But they might actually be, that might fall under the senior system architect mission, probably, maybe. You'll have to check that particular mission out if you want to learn more about, having things configured by more experienced developers, I guess. So, and then of course, system pages. System pages category include pages that describe the current user session, such as active user and the active application. For example, when a user is signed into Pega platform, the platform maintains a clipboard page that contains information about the user, such as their time zone. So, and it's like, well, you know, um, one would hope that it would, you know, well, it should also like contain information about the current engine as well, I would imagine, but hard to say, you know. Um, at least I would figure that would be more like engine based than anything else, but hard to say. Okay, but that's it for the four different um, pages there, or categories. So, okay, so check your knowledge with the following interaction. When testing the behavior of a folder for an online shopping app, you want to confirm that the app correctly generates a list of customers' previous orders when sending a request to company's order management system. In your opinion, in which category should the page that contains this list fall into? Okay, so obviously not the system pages category. That would be incorrect. Um, uh, you're trying to get the customer's previous orders, which would probably be more of a read-only information than anything else because you're not modifying those previous orders at all. You're just trying to retrieve them. So, um, so most likely not the user pages category, and most likely not the linked property pages either. Um, Read-only pages created by related properties which contain information about the data types referenced by the associated property. So, um, fortunately, this really doesn't tell me much information as to what is like contained in there very well. Like an example um, might have been helpful at this particular point in time, but they're basically saying, hey, don't worry about it. It's going to be done by more experienced developers. So it's like, okay, but what does it actually, what exactly does it contain? Um, but I figured that it would probably be falling under the data pages category. So there you go. Now, if you want to, we can go through the other pages to see, why they say that it's wrong. So, user pages category contains pages created directly or indirectly as a result of user action. Which I mean, this is still technically you're still getting um, information by user action. But the problem is that the point is that you're trying to get customers' previous orders, which should remain read only. So um, let's see what they say about the linked properties page. Um, linked property pages category contains read-only pages created by related properties. Well, okay. Again, that says nothing about what it really does. In my particular opinion, you're basically restating what this line is all about, and that doesn't exactly say. It doesn't necessarily tell me, um, what exactly it is. You know, like what are the created by related properties? What are those properties? What are we referring to by related properties? I don't really know. I mean, read-only pages. Well, I mean, customer previous orders are read-only data elements, which are probably stored in read-only pages. So, I mean, that should work, you would think, right? But what's the related properties all about? I don't know, but not apparently not something that we should really worry about all that much, as long as we know that that's not the correct one for this particular example. Um, I would hate to see a question that has that as an answer, because then you'd have to be really wondering what it's all about, you know. But it might be providing the example that you need, right? Just a sec. And then of course we have the system pages, which the system pages category includes pages that describe the current user session, such as the active user and active application. So, um, so yeah, there's all that there, folks. That's going to be it for today's module. Um, we've covered, two particular topics in this session, so we're going to be going on to the PI work page tomorrow, which, as you can see, there's quite a bit of information about the PI work page, and believe me, you're going to want to know about it. Okay, so especially if you're working on the um, system architect. Um, so, um, so we got that to cover tomorrow. That might take us the full hour to talk about, maybe. It's hard to say. Um, but it looks like the next one is going to be fairly quick. Um, oh, this looks like it's like a testing part of a challenge. So you can kind of go through here and modify the clipboard, to change results or something like that. If you wanted it to, like how they say, hey, you can change the result right in there. Again, not something that you want to do, with a real live application, because again, the clipboard is meant for testing and not, you know, user results and the like. So, but that's it. That's where we're going to go ahead and call it for today. We're going to be moving on to the Unreal Engine tutorials and discussions. I'll be joined by Blackheart in a little bit. Um, but we're going to go ahead and stop this video in just a second. I just want to thank everybody for joining me on this um, Pega video. Feel free to check out the description for social media links such as my Discord. Check out the links that help me out directly, such as Patreon and Throne. You can also check out my stream team that I made. Basically, for anybody, streamers and non-streamers alike, you're welcome to join up in the team. There's um, a document that explains the team, what it's all about, and we're just looking for people that are like-minded individuals that want to help out everybody that's on the team. So if that's something that interests you, then check it out. Um, put in your name in the application, and well, it'll be currently reviewed by me. So, um, but we're looking for more members to really make the team, um, work the way I envision it. Where everybody's getting, you know, support from everybody else, and it's just it would be fantastic if we can get it to grow to something that is useful for everybody involved, you know. So, so check that out if you're interested about that. Um, didn't really have any chatters, although I did see a message sneak in there a second ago, but that's okay. If they wanted to delete it, they can. That's no problem. Um, But I want to thank you all for stopping on by and chatting, lurking with me. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll catch you all next time. Um, we're gonna be starting this video actually right now.